Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California. Coming to you from nerdrotic.com, and down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bethalkis. What is up, Dennis?
Nothing much. How about you? You ready for this?
I'm ready for this. Tonight, we're going to talk about the Counterpart season finale. I can't believe that happened. There's 42 different versions of Howard Silk. It's amazing.
It was freaking amazing, man.
God. Oh my God. And Ian's a woman. I don't know how that happened, but it is. Oh, by the way, kidding. So if you're here for Counterpart, they took a week off.
April Fools.
Early April Fools there for you. They will be back with our Counterpart recap in this time slot next Sunday. Cannot wait. Don't know why they took a week off, but it might be actually a pretty smart move. It looks like a lot of people are catching up on the show. And I think it's official now that all of our recaps have topped 1,000 views each. So that is pretty good for it was because they were starting out really low. Our first recap had 100 views for a couple weeks. So that means people are checking us out, which is great. But tonight we're going to talk about what started this podcast. The first subjects, I went back and listened to that first podcast, which is actually, I'll stand by it. I'll stand by our first podcast. I still think it's our funniest podcast. Which was recorded in a Starbucks at West Portal in San Francisco. And we actually, a guy gave us $5. Didn't he? He bought my coffee and sponsored us. That was funny. And our first subjects were trashing on Batman versus Superman, which we did for about 2.5 years straight. And Sleepy Hollow, remember that show? Had a really good first season.
I barely remember that, yeah.
And Arrow. So we were talking about CW shows and how much we love them. And I went on a big long rant, and you were there with me, about how this is the future of superhero television, how much I loved it. I stand by that. I love season 1 of Arrow. And CW was one of the main things we covered for the longest time. And then it just kind of faded out for us. John and Dennis did some recaps for it, but it never really caught on. There's a lot of reasons for that, and none of it's the viewer's fault. But it just kind of faded. I stopped watching it, and I didn't really know why. So Dennis had a great idea to fill in tonight's episode. Is we're going to do a mini debate, and I want to throw a lot of love to I Love Comics. Dennis does not watch your channel, but this is very similar to what he's Englentine is doing over there, which is very cool. And they just debate certain things in comics, and it's like a Sunday night fight. And he gets a couple of his people from his community to come out, and they debate subjects on comic books and superheroes. It's really cool. So if this seems like it's a lot like it, it kind of is, but it's more of an homage. We're not going to be doing this weekly or anything, but we're going to finally put the CW subject to bed, because Dennis has been, he'll quietly go, this happened on the CW. Hey, and because we message each other all the time, we talk. He's all, this happened. Constantine showed up. We should do the CW. Da-da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, no, we can't do the CW. And it's because I'm out. And I've never realized why I'm out. But I watched the latest 3 episodes, and this is on Dennis's recommendation. So I watched, Doppelganger, which is the latest Arrow episode, Run, Iris, Run, which is the latest Flash episode. And I love this title, Necromancing the Stone, the latest Legends of Tomorrow episode. So we're going to debate it on the merit of these 3 episodes. And it's basically to DCCW or not to DCCW.
We left out Supergirl, we left out Black Lightning, and we left out iZombie. Even those are all DC titles. We left those out. So we're only doing 3 out of the 6.
Yes. And hello, everybody in the chat. We're going to kind of get to you during this little debate. It's a very informal debate. And if this opens up and just turns into a regular live stream, we're okay with that too. So Dennis, why don't you start out? Because you're the pro in this. Issue number 1. You pick the episode to start with.
I'm going to start with what I think was the worst one, and I'm going to go with Run, Iris, Run.
Okay.
The Flash. I think that was, for me, it wasn't the best episode. where you have a switching of powers. We've seen this all the time with Superman, where Lois gets Superman's powers by getting transferred by lightning, or somebody else gets Superman's powers. Well, in this case, Flash's powers get transferred over to Iris, so Iris gets to be the speedster for a little while. And of course, it's the normal CW kind of shtick where they're looking for the guy who, the catalyst, if you will, the Deus Ex Machina that can change this stuff around. They need to find him so they can get Barry's powers back, or maybe not. If Iris still wants to keep him, he's okay with that because that's the kind of relationship that they have. And of course, all the shit's happening at the meantime, so they're trying to get find out what the big bad is doing that week and stay ahead of him as well. So I just thought it was kind of a filler episode myself. It wasn't very fun so much, and but it does kind of fit in with the way the Flash has been going lately, which is down this kind of weird road, I think, lately. What did you think of it?
Well, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the pro. And I'm supposed to. That was a good, nice selling job there, bud.
Sorry. Yeah, that's why I went with the worst one first. That's why I wanted to end on a happy note.
I felt completely lost jumping into that episode. They did some explaining, but one of my biggest complaints about the Flash in particular is like everybody is getting powers. So I saw the scenes for it. I'm like, they're going to give freaking Iris powers too. Jesus Christ. So they're giving everybody powers, and the Flash is kind of turning into what I was afraid it would turn into, is less and less of a Flash show. Like the Flash doesn't show up in his own show. It's more about his cast of characters now. And I found that the Flash, which I thought was the better show of all of them for the longest time, the most comic book like show, his costume's better. He's far better, and still to this day, far better than the Flash that was in the movie. Okay, like this is Barry Allen. Grant Gustin plays a great Barry Allen. There's nothing wrong with that. If you heard dogs in the background, that means Mama Nerdrotic just got home. So yeah, so apologies for that. But it seems like they write this show for shipping. I mean, and that's it. That's the common theme throughout any CW show, is it's written for ship now. It's not written for, it's full of ship. Okay. And it's, yeah.
It is full of ship.
No, it is. It's not written like a superhero show. There is a lot of people calling themselves superhero names while they are walking around in their street clothes, standing. It wasn't as much talking about their feelings in hallways, more about talking about planning something in a ready room of some kind, or a base. There is still fun stuff about it. I still like to see the Flash use his powers, and they do, they like Iris made a tidal wave. That was cool. That was cool to watch.
Yeah.
It was very interesting that her lightning was kind of purple.
Yeah. Purple.
It so they gave it a girl color. What was up with that? That was weird.
Barry's is red, or
well, I know. I just the whole different.
Wally's
if she got
yellow. Yeah,
Barry's powers, why did they change the colors unless it's got something to do with their I'm sure there's some faux scientific explanation for it. In the meantime, they're trying to outthink the thinker, right?
Yeah.
So we got I'm blanking on his name now, working on his quote unquote thinking cap.
The thinking cap, which he doesn't want to call it the thinking cap.
No, he doesn't. And Cisco, and Dennis knows why I stopped liking Cisco, because I used to love Cisco, but one of our most viewed video was a complete accident, by the way. We were at WonderCon in 2015, and I decided to fill our video on my phone, very shaky cam. I was doing my very best green grass, which is a panel of the Flash at WonderCon, and Grant Gustin didn't show up. And it was led by the guy who got caught up in the Me Too stuff, who you don't see anymore, but who was really the Flash's, creator and head writer. I think he's still around. They just don't show him anymore. And it made me flip-flop. I thought Iris was the most boring character, and I like Cisco, but then I saw them in real life and how they were answering questions and interacting with fans. And you can go back and watch the video, and maybe it was just me, but the guy who plays Cisco came off as the came off as not very cool. But Iris, the girl who plays Iris, was super enthusiastic. Yeah. Candace was super enthusiastic to be there and great to the fans and great answering all the questions and sold me on her over. I was like, okay, she's cool, you know, because she like seemed really into the show, where Cisco, like, this show's, you know, he's like waving his hair. It's like, this show's cool and everything, but you know, I'm into other things too. You know, it's just, it was really aloof. I don't know. Maybe he was just having a bad day. So I don't want to totally judge the guy. And you can go back and watch that shaky cam video. But I don't know, man. It's with the Flash, and then the elongated man, for one, not using his powers once during an episode. Have they shown him use his powers at all?
They have shown him use his powers, yeah. In other episodes, it's just when it's an elongated man centric episode. So I'm pretty sure it's budgetary, because I mean, we've seen, you know, when they go all out budgetary, and they'll like the crossover events, they will actually put money into, and then you can tell the other shows suffer because they can't afford it. They really can't.
Yeah, so for these crossover events, it's costing us actual superpowers, and again, nobody wears costumes. So all I know about Dibney is he's in fear. He complains a lot. He eats a lot of junk food, and he's a negative Nelly in the group. That's all he is. And Iris, of course, is still nice to him, and she's the team leader now. So I didn't know that was going on. I guess it makes sense.
She stopped her job. Well, she kind of, I don't know if she got fired or if she quit or what happened, where she was doing the news blog thing, and then she started her own news blog. Then she stopped that when they found out the Savitar was going to kill her, and now her job is basically, I'm just wondering where these people are getting money from too, because she just runs the group over at Star Labs. Yet, you know, she's at Star Labs, Cisco's at Star Labs, Caitlin's at Star Labs. Everyone's at Star Labs now. Barry doesn't have a job because, you know, he's been suspended as well, so he's at Star Labs now. So where are they getting this money from?
They were shipping something. Maybe it was eBay, because when Iris was doing her little running test and she messed up on the treadmill, she crashed into a bunch of Star Lab boxes filled with that little Cheeto stuffing. And I'm like, well, that's convenient. What's that doing there? Are they eBaying or something? Or
I think that was their makeshift padding, you know, just to catch whoever fell off the treadmill, because it's probably happened before.
Okay, I would use real padding then. But they probably can't afford it, because how do they keep the lights on at Star Labs?
Yeah,
that's not important right now.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's where you can use the famous "we'll explain later."
Yeah.
Which is a famous Doctor Who one. I'll explain later. So yeah, you're not sounding very pro about this, by the way. So
no. Flash is kind of at the bottom of my list right now on the CW shows, believe it or not.
There you go.
Arrow is just a little bit above it. Not much above it, but it's a little bit above it.
Okay. And I want to say to CW fans, if you're still, I mean, not judging you at all, if you're still enjoying this show, we all have our guilty pleasures, and it's not a judgment on you. It's just how I feel about the show. And it's not even that I think it's that terrible. It's that we all only have so much time in our day, and I have to prioritize. So
and I watched all these episodes, so I'm caught up on all the CW lore as it is.
Yes, you are. Yes, and you watch the other ones too. So
I do. Yes. So for the second one, I was going to say we go to Arrow, and this one I actually liked. I liked it quite a bit, considering they brought back Roy, and we got to see my favorite person in the world get her costume back and go out. And I'm sorry, dude. The lisp on her is just
Speedy.
Yeah. Like this. I'm sorry to those of you who do have lisp out there and stuff like that, but her lisp is really so pronounced. That's all I can hear when I watch her, and it just drives me nuts. Not to mention that she's also a bad actress too. So, I was kind of glad when she got killed off, to tell you the truth. Then she came back, and I'm like, damn it, no one ever dies on this show.
Anyway. I think they're trying to work her out, though. It looks like at the end of this episode, like her and Roy are gonna take off. This was the better of the three to me too, because of Diaz, the guy playing the bad guy. Remember, I'm watching this in the frame of just this show, and I think he is a formidable bad guy. I cannot remember where I have seen that guy. Oh no, he was
he's
in
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. That's right, 12 Monkeys. He's a good actor, and he's great as the bad guy. So that sold it for me. He feels really threatening, and there's some stakes.
He just recently became the bad guy, by the way, too. He just recently became the big bad. He was a second banana for the longest time, and then all of a sudden pops in as the main bad guy. We're like, what, huh?
Yeah, well, that's cool. I think that's mixing it up. Yeah, because it definitely in Flash, it feels like there's no stakes, nobody's in danger. It's just, I don't know, and that's the same for Legends of Tomorrow when we get to that. But there felt like there were stakes here. There felt like, and Arrow's always, well, for one, Green Arrow is my favorite DC superhero. I'll put that out there right now. He's my favorite DC superhero. So I've always felt like they've done him a little justice. The guy who, Stephen Amell, doesn't really look like Green Arrow, like at all. He's Green Arrow's taller.
He doesn't have the goatee.
He's got this goatee, but he looks like Green Arrow's supposed to look like an aging hippie superhero. Okay, that's the Denny O'Neil, Green Arrow, Green Lantern comics, which are some of my favorite of all time. That's the Green Arrow I have in my head. So
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But Stephen Amell is like, he takes the role seriously. I remember when he came out at Comic-Con and we saw him that one time and he showed off his first Green Arrow costume, which was awesome, by the way. That was so cool. And he came out in character, I'm going to save this city. And, that's the other thing about the CW superheroes is they're also civic minded. They really love their cities. Like I would never lay my life down for San Francisco. I'm sorry. I love the town and everything, but property taxes is all you're getting out of me. So that's it. Fix my roads and you can take care of your own crime. That's fine. So with this one, I don't have a ton bad to say. I knew what was going on. I like the bad guy. I'm not a fan of Speedy or Roy or oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? The one with the dumb mask on again. Diggle. Thank you, Diggle. Diggle's helmet, which I know he's supposed to kind of look like the Guardian. I mean, ish, but man.
He actually just started recently wearing that again because for a while he was actually the Arrow. He became the Arrow for a while because Ollie had stepped back because he has a son now and all this, and so he promised his son that he would step back.
And they're doing the mayor thing, which they did in the comics, and they do follow some comic book stuff once in a while. I think the show should actually do that a lot more. Like they should, because they hinted at that, and they've done it a little bit with Flash, but I think they should follow the comic book lore a little more because it's better, honestly. But see, they always have to fit in, and Arrow's the least guilty of this, but they always have to fit in some love triangle or some secret that nobody else knows.
And, no, Arrow's the worst of it. Honestly, they always do the secrets.
Okay, you're right, and you're right, but in this episode they didn't. Okay, well, kind of
change. It was a change.
I take that back. I wasn't thinking about Laurel's dad. Yeah, so they're actually doing it. So I was wrong there. There's always some secret that compromises somebody. Because of the loved one, and
it's the same damn secret. They learned the lesson at the end, and then they repeat it all over again. That was the thing that used to drive John and I nuts all the time because we're like, didn't they just solve this last episode? They said they weren't going to, there was going to be no more secrets. Like, yeah, they did. And what did they have this time? Secrets.
And Laurel's dad. I'm sorry, I'm just going to call him Harry Dresden. The guy who was in the Dresden Files. He talks like that too. So he's got the little thing going and he's trying to do, he does a pretty decent American accent. And I loved him in the Dresden Files. That's a show that should have lived a lot longer than it did. Damn it. But yeah, there's still, but The Secret, at least it was a decent one. And we've got, the Earth 2 Black Canary.
Yeah.
Right? And she's posing as Laurel, and for some reason that I'm totally unaware, Roy Harp.
That's because the Canary that they know, Dinah, wants to kill her because she killed Vigilante. Is what happened. her
Okay.
boyfriend.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Roy got captured. He was at pretty much witness protection. He got captured by Diaz, and because Diaz has paid off all the cops, and we find out all the cops are dirty. They go in and they fail at a rescue attempt, and I thought that was actually cool. Like to actually fail at something. We don't see enough of that. At least I don't feel like I've seen enough. But again, I'm only basing this off the last 3 episodes, so I thought that was kind of cool. But was this enough to draw me back in to like maybe Arrow? But yeah, I'd have to see a couple more episodes because they've done this to me before, where you get drawn in. Agents of Shield was the worst at this. I'm sorry to bring it up during the CW, but like you get a good episode, and then it would just be nothing for 3 or 4 episodes. It would just be like, we're going to plan an op and do an op, and then talk about planning another op, and
nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing moves forward. It's Agents of Shield. Sorry, Agents of Shield fan. It's kind of it's a sterile show. It lacks, I don't know, something.
Thanks, Johnny Pappas. He gave us $1.99 to spend on something other than these shows.
Well, oh, go on.
I was just gonna say the joke's on him. We didn't spend anything on it.
Johnny,
this time
so much. I will. You know what? I'll spend it on the next because I bought my Farscape on YouTube, and it's $1.99. So I'll buy. I paid $2.99 for the HD, and then I realized that I paid for it to say it was an HD, but it wasn't an HD. I'm like, God damn it! I should have just paid $1.99. Oh well. So yeah, before we get to Legends of Tomorrow, let's go to the chat a little bit and work some of that out. So Man of Action is here. What's up, Man of Action?
Yeah, we got a lot of people in today. So
World, DJ Bowman. Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. We were kind of laughing because Penn Farm Girl said tonight we should push Dennis about Farscape.
I'm not going to stop you. I enjoyed it.
I have watched the first season, like I said, and it just didn't do anything for me. And I know this is going to piss off Viking Bitch and probably Penn Farm Girl as well. I don't like Ben Browder. There's something about him that just really irks me. I don't know what it is. I didn't like him in Stargate. When he was in Stargate, I thought he was one of the worst things when they brought him in. And yeah, I'm just not a big fan of his. So
they were actually saying that in the some were saying that he kind of ruined Stargate because they just tried to make his scenes like Farscape and Stargate. I have no frame of reference. Penn Farm Girl, you're the best. I couldn't possibly be the best if you're the best. She said you're the best, Gary. That's so nice. Okay, so yeah, getting you Ben Browder. I like Ben Browder. I think in Farscape, I liked his charisma, his swagger, and it's very Harrison Ford like. It's very Han Solo / Indiana Jones, where it's the flawed hero. You know, that he's not perfect. So he's kind of funny. So I liked it. I liked it a lot.
It just wasn't for me. That's all. And I recognize, I see what people liked about it, and it's cool. I mean, you can't like everything. That's what the BGs are for. Johnny Papa says, I fell behind on the CW show and really don't care to catch up.
That's kind of where I was at. Robert Brain 10,000 says, but no Supergirl. We didn't. It was a time issue. So it was my decision to let's stick with the main 3. So we left out iZombie, Black Lightning, and Supergirl because they're not really fully connected into the CW superhero world. If we had, maybe that's something we could debate for another day. I will say this about Black Lightning. My positive thing to say about Black Lightning is I like that the hero is an actual fully grown man. Yes, I like me some man. No, I like that he's like a dad and he's a man. There's a lot, like even Grant Gustin looks like your very good looking IT guy. He doesn't really look like a superhero, so I can kind of buy that with the Flash. I'm not going to have very nice things to say about Kid Flash, but we'll get to that. But I like Black Lightning. I like the concept of him and the fact that he's like a man's man. So
Penn Farm Girl says, I consider them a guilty pleasure. We all do. They're not the worst thing out there. I actually like iZombie. Yeah, I'd have to say out of everything here, I'm liking iZombie the most right now. Especially the last week's episode with Major, who ate the wrestler's brain and was doing a really awesome Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. And everything he was going up to, and he's trying to talk to Liv. He goes, "Liv, I got something I got to tell you."
Oh yeah,
oh yeah, and he's doing the whole
Slim
the teeth clench and everything. He's doing the posing too, and he goes, "I'm really glad you found somebody else to be with. I'm really happy for you."
Oh
yeah, and he does he does that too, and I just started laughing, man.
Oh,
it's like,
man,
it's the
I
last
miss
quarter of
Macho
it.
Man.
I do too.
I hope you're in a happier place, Macho Man. You are missed. iZombie was a great comic book that I love very much, and it's a good show. I'm a Rob Thomas fan. I'm a Veronica Mars fan, and that's another one I fell off and just didn't feel like catching up, but I did enjoy it. I don't have anything bad to say. Supergirl. No, I cannot do Supergirl. That show, and that got out of the I read her comics as a kid. I was a Supergirl fan. But people don't talk like they talk in Supergirl. That is written like guys trying to write 14-year-old girls as 20-something women. That's how I see the show. Wonder Woman and Xena would be cool. They just did a Wonder Woman Conan crossover, which was fantastic. And yes, my buddy Derek Robertson did the covers for him. But if you actually read the story, it's by Gail Simone, and it's kind of a romantic story, and it's very good. And I think Wonder Woman and Xena would be, as a movie, that'd be awesome. I'd go for just a comic book, though.
Jody says, but Dennis, you notice how his personality, he's talking about Ralph Dibny. There we go. How his personality seems more consistent with Plastic Man. Not really. Plastic Man was, Eel was a lot more confident, and also he's a flim flam man. So you have a little bit of that flim flam man in Ralph, but you don't have the confidence, and that's where I think they kind of differ.
I think they caught a little bit of the spirit of like the New 52, Ralph Dibny a little bit, or for not New 52, Identity Crisis one. Sorry, forgive me. I'm not the biggest elongated man. Like, I don't know tons about him. I remember, when Sue Dibny, the horrible act that Dr. Light did on Sue Dibny and the reaction to that. I think he's a little bit carried. He just bitched and complained too much for me. And by the way, the Wonder Woman and Zima comment, I got to credit that. It was DJ Bowman. So thanks, DJ.
Rubber Brain 10,000 says they showed that Star Labs museum thing. The museum thing was their idea to generate money, and it never took off. So they actually trashed that. That was the Harrison Wells from I forget, it was like Earth 42 or something like that. The guy who wasn't a genius but just had really good ideas that he would
Steve Jobs
mine from other, basically the Steve Jobs kind of guy, and it crashed and burned. So that never actually took off.
But if you have really good ideas, you're still a genius, just not like a math genius.
So. Yeah, he was good at taking other people's genius and crafting them so they worked, I guess you could say.
Yep, which is a genius in itself.
Yeah. Jody says, also, how is it Joe West still a cop when he seems to spend most of his time at Star Labs? I mean, once you get pointed especially he's on the Team Flash.
Yeah, he must be part-time or something. That is a very good point. And again, they get so long in these shows and they forget about these little details, but we don't. And even though hey, it's not that big of a deal, it chips away at our believability of it, and it just becomes kind of a parody. And I think that's what the point I made in our very long pre-production meeting. It was hours long. It was during my last podcast. You just didn't see it. We talked about I said, like, I stopped watching these shows cold, so now I jump into this show, and it's not the same show. It is definitely not the same show. If you go back and watch season 1 again of any of these shows, they are light years difference, and it's because they're written for ship P. That's with a P. And yeah, there's and the last show, is the most guilty, and it's the one I was the biggest fan of. It's the one I like the most. I like more superheroes, but the problem is with Legends of Tomorrow, it's again more people just calling themselves superheroes.
So Rubber Brain 10,000 asks, he asked me specifically, what's your ranking for all 6 CW shows? iZombie would be number 1. It's kind of a toss-up between Supergirls and Legends of Tomorrow. I think I would put... I'll throw Legends of Tomorrow in as number 2, Supergirl number 3, Black Lightning number 4, Arrow number 5, and at the very bottom, Flash is number 6.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah, just because of the crap that's been going on in Arrow, and Flash, that's been annoying me.
So I would rank them based on like what I've seen in the past. So what I've seen in the past, I would say, and this is based on just their first couple seasons, I would go with Legends of Tomorrow. Although after that last episode, I might have to drop that a little bit. I don't know. I guess Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, iZombie. I've only seen one episode of Black Lightning, so I can't even put that on my list. But definitely Supergirl's last. Supergirl's definitely last.
Apple Crow says, is 12 Monkeys worth a watch? God, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
If you liked the Sarah Connor Chronicles that was on Fox, it's the same guy who wrote that. He had an idea for something called Splinter, and Sci-Fi wanted to do the 12 Monkeys. They somehow got the property for it, and so they melded this Splinter idea with 12 Monkeys, and honestly, it's an amazing show. It's really, really good. And the woman who plays the crazy woman, Jennifer, does such a fantastic job. I mean, just awesome job.
Really, really good. And they captured the spirit, which is almost impossible. They captured the spirit of Gilliam in that. They really did pay the original script a lot of homage and with respect. Now it's still a TV show at a TV show level, so they didn't get that Gilliam surrealism very much, but you can buy that that's where it came from. So that was cool. Yeah, definitely worth the watch. Let's get on to Legends of Tomorrow, then we'll get back to the chat.
Okay, that sounds good. So our last episode, or last thing that we're going to talk about is Legends of Tomorrow, and this is Necromancing the Stone. I liked it actually. It was fun because we got to see Constantine come back. It wasn't really Constantine was written a little bit weird for this one though, but I did like the introduction of Ava going to go and find him. It made me laugh just because of the whole thing of the chicken that was going on. You think something, really powerful is going to happen, that, Constantine's really doing something that he needs to do. It's like, no, it's just a ritual for a wedding. That's all it is. It could happen later. He's got to pay the bills somehow, which that actually explains how he can afford that apartment.
No, it's a gig economy, which it really is. And I thought that was good. They would have to up their game to bring Constantine in. I don't think he fits in this show. I'm happy he's in this show. And I love when they mix supernatural with sci-fi. I love when they mix genres. I just don't think the writers are up to what they would need to do. And we're still losing Constantine where he absolutely belongs on some form of cable show with a hard R, like gross, filled with gore and scary demon show. I mean, that's where it needs to be. It's like
Ash versus Evil Dead, man.
Yeah.
That's what it has to be.
Absolutely. I mean, Preacher, like the first season of Preacher, that's pretty much, it's some of the best stuff from Constantine and Hellblazer was from Garth Ennis. So that's where he belongs. I'll take him where I can get him, but it's keeping him away. I bet you the animated series, which I meant to watch before I started, but we'll give you our thoughts on that next Friday. I bet you it's better. I just think it's better, probably. This one, it's tough because I love seeing Constantine, but the CW always has a character that annoys the living crap out of me. There's always one that's just like, I don't want to watch this person on screen. And it's nothing against the actress, it's how she's written. And I don't know what is, and okay, old man Gary's coming. You got that Ghost World. Here comes old man Gary. Get off my lawn. When did like smarmy become like a thing? When did that become? It's not charming. I don't like it. And I think it's just them mixing up. There's a way to have swagger and confidence, and you could still be a little humble. And I don't even know her name, and I don't want to know her name. But White Canary's girlfriend could not stand her. Ava. I was like, get her off the screen. Like when she, for one, White Canary should be fired as captain immediately after this episode, because she did the one thing she pretty much told everybody not to do, which was, use one of the amulets. And especially she knows she's got some demon taint in her. All right. And in the meantime, she's just tripping on a relationship. And the best thing this episode did was give us a great example of, and this is very tongue in cheek, people. So this is just a gag. A great example of a lesbian relationship. Basically, when you pull the U-Haul up, keep the engine running, the back door up, so you're going to be a girlfriend. By the end of the episode, you're going to break up. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty much a realistic lesbian relationship. But yeah, what the most annoying thing was when she was the hologram and she beamed in to somebody else's space, and it was Rory. Yeah, and then she tells him to move. It's like, F you. I was standing here. And then when Constantine says, hold my hands, love, she's all, ew, and wants like touch it with one finger. And I'm like, oh God. And I know she grabbed the hem later and it was for dramatic effect, but everything about her was annoying. And I couldn't stand her. And that's what made me hate the episode. It's also a lot of walking around in sound stages, especially when she's in the demon, and you're like, that doesn't look like they just got some dry ice in a freaking sound stage at all. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, their budget takes a hit every time they do those crossovers. It really does.
Now she looked good. Okay. I liked the whole makeup and the hair color. I'm like, that is a good look for her. I would stick with that. But another one is Kid Flash, Wally West. We got to talk about Wally West. He looks like a nice young man. He does. He looks like but he's there. He's like that kid from The Gifted. He's there to smile and look pretty. And he talks so low. I have to I'm like, there's
a reason why they don't use him on the Flash anymore, and the reason why he got kicked over to Legends of Tomorrow.
Hey, everybody, stop arguing. I'm the Kid Flash. Hey, I'll go over there. Okay, for one, he's a freaking Flash. They're full of energy. Okay, they're very hyper. All like Impulse, Kid Flash. They're all hyper. They have to eat a lot of food. Okay, even though their powers are slightly different, they always have to eat. They're always hungry, and they're spazzy people. I would know that. So, yeah, he's like way too kick back and relax. I can't understand a goddamn word he's saying. And his powers, he shouldn't have, for one, how the hell did he get shot? And, she's a death. She's pretty much a demon with the powers. She was using the Force to move people around, but then she would still pull a knife on somebody. And then she had 8 opportunities to kill people. And she didn't kill him.
That's supposed to be her, fighting back. Kind of thing.
Okay. That's an assumption. Okay, yeah, I know. We're going on an assumption because they didn't tell us that, and I'm like, why didn't she just kill the guy right there? She had a knife. Why? I'm going to reasonably, beat up people and walk away so they can come back and fight me later. And I was just like, there was no stakes in this. And then. Is it what the fuck is it? Captain Steel? Is that what
Steel? Yeah, I just call him Steel. I know it's supposed to be like Commander Steel, but
Commander Steel. Did he not? They obviously had no budget for his power, so he had to stick his hand into a box to get an amulet, and he's all psyching himself out. And it's like, dude, power up, bro, power up, and grab the amulet. And he didn't. So did somebody take away his powers in a previous episode that I am not aware of?
Nope.
So the only one that stands out is somebody I like. Is Rory. So
Rory is the one that I've been liking this entire time. And he's just been getting better and better because he walks around drinking all the time.
In a bathrobe.
Because he's naked most of the time when he's in his room. And that's the whole thing. Is everyone keeps walking in on him, and he's like, "You don't knock. I'm naked."
So that's my another bitch about this. It's a bunch of people calling themselves superheroes. There's nobody suiting up anymore. So it's what happens to these shows when you get formulaic, and I don't know how many like real comic people are involved. It seems like they pay that a lot of lip service now. These are not comic book shows anymore. They call each other by the first names. They don't use their costumes, and people go, "Well, costumes are silly now." No, what you do is you make the costume part of their power. Like the Human Torch has, he can't wear clothes. All his clothes would burn off. So we had Fantastic Four. We had Unstable Molecules. Hence costume. Iron Man, obvious answer there. You make your costume part of it. They've turned Batman's costume into armor, and Ollie, with Arrow, it's armor. You mix in your costume and you wear it. It's your battle uniform. And if you're a superhero, you're always on duty. So except if you're Isis, who blows literally. Like, what is her job?
Yeah,
it's her job to get knocked out.
It pretty much is that she gets knocked out freaking every episode, dude. It seems like it. For a while there, that was Commander Steel's job. Even though he turns into Steel, he would get knocked out every episode. Now Zari came on board, and she gets knocked out every episode. So I think that's what they do is they just go, okay, who can we knock out every episode?
You know who also gets knocked out in their defense is Luke Cage. Luke Cage gets, and this is carried over from the comics because he's invulnerable, so he can kind of kick ass in every fight. So they always find ways to knock him out. And it was so funny when he got knocked out in Jessica Jones, and then he got knocked out in his show. And I'm like, if they do it in season 2, I'm gonna get mad. Do not knock out Luke Cage. It's just bad writing, like they say.
Well, it happened to Jessica Jones too. Remember, in the season 2, she got knocked out quite a bit.
Yep.
And it seems like their go-to thing. It's like, oh, we don't know how to deal with their power, so no, just knock him out.
Just knock him out. So there were some good scenes. Constantine was the best. Constantine and Rory. If they did a road show, I wish they would have kept the fact. I know they can't budgetary, but when Rory took the amulet and like became fire, and he was holding and looking at it in his hand for a little while, and what's her name was like, Rory, you still with me? That was cool. I would keep that. I would let him, because like having a little fire pistol is kind of dumb. Okay, so I would, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten killed like 5 times. And of course, they knocked the Atom out, because he would have solved all these. Actually, they knocked the Flash out too, because both of those powers could have solved the problem. So I don't know. It was silly, and I like silly sometimes, but it doesn't seem like the writers are taking the show very seriously, and the edits on that thing are just, it's too fast, man. It's crazy.
It's because you're old.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
Old.
Oh, yeah. No. I can go back and watch Armageddon and enjoy it. So then there's no more fast edits.
Maybe there's slow edits, man. Now
compared to Transformers, you're right. But I like Transformers. I like the first Transformers movie. I do.
Transformers, like, what is it, 5 or 9 or whatever he's up to now? That thing is got like dude, I don't know. The editing on that one is so bad that it's like someone just threw it in a blender and just threw all the pieces together.
Dude, he cuts mid-sentence. Like, people will be speaking a sentence and he'll change the angle, and it's like, what? He was just saying walk down the hallway. Walk down the hallway. Whatever. So let's get back to the chat after obviously Jody did not like Legends of Tomorrow at all. So
Jody says, Gary, I want to see Matt Ryan's Constantine crossover with Tom Ellis's Lucifer. That feels more like a better fit. Not the way they're doing it on Fox, man.
I would respectfully disagree with you, Dennis. I don't mind the Lucifer Fox series for what it is. I mean, it's nothing like the comic. But I knew that's what it was going to be. They were going to turn it into basically a procedural cop drama. That being said, it's kind of fun. It is kind of fun. The guy playing Lucifer's good. If they would have so have him playing Lucifer and Matt Ryan playing Constantine, and then put them with some serious writers, like say Stephen DeKnight or something like that, and he does it, then yeah, I'm down for watching that.
Yeah, that could work.
If we're dreaming here, let's dream big.
Dream big. Dream on. Dream on.
I promise I'll never do that again. I'll send you a
And
super chat to fucking not sing again.
Jody
Nice.
says, and the current arc for Supergirl this season has the forced friendship between Kara, Lena, and the main baddie's human alter ego. I know what they were going for, but it doesn't seem believable. Yeah, actually, the Lena thing, for a while there, I thought they were going to get Kara and Lena to kind of have a, you know, a more than friends relationship. Let's just say that. That's where I thought they were going with that one. But no, I don't know where they're going with it. Tell you the truth, now it just seems kind of funky. And yes, I did like the Flash more before, Jody. Just to tell you that. Penn Farm Girl says the Librarians was kind of like Warehouse 13. Yeah, Warehouse 13 was a lot better than Librarians. I've tried watching it, man, and I just can't get into it.
The Librarians?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's okay. My wife likes it.
Compared to Warehouse 13, Warehouse 13 was a lot more fun, I thought. But,
I like Warehouse 13 too.
Jennifer Goins, that was what her name was. Jennifer Goins. Penn Farm Girl says Jennifer Goins is the best. That's from 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, God. She needs to be in more stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a role in the MCU for her somewhere, or just another TV show.
You know, she would actually play God, I'm trying to think. She would actually be a good Jen Walters. Tell you the truth.
She-Hulk?
She-Hulk, yeah.
I know. I see her more as a I'm going to go deep cut on you. Moondragon. I would Moondragon her. She'd have to shave her head though. She'd have to play like a villain, I think. She'd be a good villain too.
That wouldn't be bad.
Might have been a good Hela.
Although I loved, Kate Blanchett did such a good job as Hela.
I love Kate Blanchett.
I was just watching that because I bought it, and I was watching that, and when she comes out and she's like, okay, we're going to do this the hard way. I was like, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh my God, that movie is sick in 4K. If you guys have the ability to watch it in 4K, oh my God. It beats Guardians of the Galaxy, which was the most beautiful thing I'd seen in 4K. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But it's pretty amazing. I have not watched Justice League yet in 4K, but I plan to.
Gerswold says, I'm really enjoying the comics of Hellblazer, a bit confusing at times, and the writing is a bit jumpy, but it's very good read.
You mean the old ones or the new ones that just came out? The old ones are kind of all over the place, but they're good.
I think he got the first volume. So
okay, that's cool. That's that old. Yeah, I mean, I love that style of art. It's very 80s. Thin, sketchy lines. They were using digital color, but it still looked like the 4-color format. That's good stuff. Over and under Gary refers to something as shit 20 times. Oh, LOL. Over and under, guys. Gary refers to something as shit 20 times tonight. Did I say? Did I get to 20 yet?
Maybe I think you're around 13 or 14, somewhere around there. Jody says, though, I will say this: Zari wasn't someone I liked initially, but after the Groundhog Day episode centered around her, she won me over. Even with the Groundhog Day episode, I still don't like her. And I think it's just because she gets knocked out every episode. That was funny, but it was... Dude, they borrowed really, really heavily from the Stargate SG-1 episode. Everyone does that, the whole Groundhog Day episode where you're trapped in a time loop. But Stargate SG-1, for some reason, did such a good job of it, man. It's one of their best episodes. But yeah, even after that one that she did, I wasn't too much of a fan of hers still. Viking Bitch says, I want to live inside Moya.
That's the ship, yes. It's kind of dark in there. I need to see more of it. But I would love to live on a ship that can go freaking anywhere. That'd be awesome. Leave my life behind. Well, my family would have to come with me.
And then that's the other thing. Rubber Rain 10,000 says, well, Wally was meditating in China when they found him. That's the reason why he talks so slow now. It's because he's learned to meditate and smokes a lot of weed too on the side, like super weed.
Everything's just really cool, man. No, he was nothing against the kid. He's just, they cast him for looks, okay, and which, I mean, hey, They do that a lot. So it's nothing against him. Hey, get your money, kid. Take your money and
run.
You work it. And work it. Nothing against him personally at all. It's just, well, it's like watching back when I used to like football. I didn't love all my players. There were some shitty players. Like Quentin Jammer used to piss me off on the Chargers. Like, fuck Quentin Jammer. Sorry.
You remember they've said pretty much everyone that they've cast in the CW shows, they've only done that. They're the first people that they interviewed, or the first people that went through the casting process, and they would hire them. And I think that's just what you need to do in the CW. If you really want the job, you gotta make sure you're the first one on the list, and they just hire you right away. That's probably what happened with him.
Maybe they should have cast him as Static Shock instead of Wally West. We talked about, though, they had rights issues with that. They really wanted to do Static. I think they were talking that was supposed to be the show instead of Black Lightning. So
instead of Black Lightning, yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because they are working a lot of Static stuff into Black Lightning. Instead of the Bang Babies, they are going a different route.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's all I'm going to say.
Ed Brewer says, "Start over. I'm here now." Okay, here we go. So Arrow.
So back at the beginning, the Earth cooled.
The Earth, yes. And the dinosaurs came.
They got too big and fat, and they all died. And then the Arabs came. No, sorry, that's paraphrasing Airplane.
Airplane, yes. They mined them for oil. Now, what did the Bill Hicks routine? And on the 7th day, God created pot. And then he looks down on the earth and he goes, "Oh my me, I've left pot everywhere. Now I got to create Republicans." Damn. No, sorry.
All right. Apple Crow. I was just there and it just bounced me out for some reason. Damn it.
DJ Bowman says Indiana Jones is probably an artifact himself somehow in the warehouse now. True. Oh my God. I love Indiana Jones, and it's official. It's a better trilogy than, I'm talking original trilogy there, than Star Wars. I used to not think that, but I think Indiana Jones is better. And because they have less bad stuff in it, although, Crystal Skull's pretty bad, but
it's the best movie ever. Where's my paycheck?
It's going to be interesting to see them do a movie where Spielberg can't blame all the flaws on George Lucas, because it's going to be 100% Spielberg. I don't think George Lucas is involved in this one. So,
well, did you love the whole thing that there's this controversy that he was saying, "Oh, we couldn't get the rights to any of the Star Wars stuff"? He said it in a couple interviews, and then he comes back and goes, "Oh no, wait," because it actually is in the book quite a bit about the X-wing, R2D2, all that kind of stuff. And then he comes back and goes, "Oh no, wait, we do have some of that stuff. Like we got the X-wing and then we have R2D2. It's all in the background and blah blah blah." He goes, he goes, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say anything like that." And they're like, "Dude, we have the video. It's right here."
Yeah. Well.
Jody says, Dennis, they'd have to tweak Lucifer's format a bit to align with more of his Vertigo version than the current one in order to fit with Constantine. They'd have to tweak it a lot.
Johnny Pappas, I guess I did through Bill Hicks. While I love Bill Hicks, I do not agree with all of his politics. I will say that right now. But yeah.
Viking Bitch says, DJ, no, there are creatures that live down in the bottom, and their effluvium fills in cracks in Moya's hull, kind of like bat guano. Okay, there you have it. And they're still talking about that. Sorry. Apple Crow says, "No, Gary, you don't need to see Justice League more than once." I agree.
Probably not, but I'll probably end up watching it again anyway. I didn't hate that movie at all.
I didn't hate it either, but I found no need to actually go back and watch it again. It just, Jody says, she's still not Isis though, Dennis. I was hoping she'd be more like the comic book Isis from the 52 version with the Black Marvel family.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought that was what we were going to get to. So I thought that was cool. We get an ISIS with powers, and that's my big problem with the show. It's just people in their street clothes saying they're a superhero.
I know they're supposed to be bringing the Marvel family into Legends of Tomorrow. Like, I think it's supposed to be in one
Like
of the
Mary
episodes.
Marvel and
Yeah. And I heard something about that, and I just don't know when it's supposed to happen.
that's interesting because they can't use Captain Marvel right now. I mean,
No.
this goes back and forth in a lawsuit, but right now that's why Shazam is called Shazam,
Mm-hmm.
which is just the word he uses because he's actually called Captain Marvel.
And
So
everyone knows what Shazam means, right? What it stands for. It's actually an acronym. It's not his name. Well, it's his name, but it's also an acronym for his name. So it's where he gets all his powers from all the different
uh,
gods. Jody says maybe they should have cast him as Static Shock instead of Wally West. You already said that, actually. So sorry.
Davis 404 says, I ain't got a problem with Crystal Skull. He got older in the 50s. We're about the riskies and flying saucers. Again, the concept I liked. It just it was the execution.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I don't think you need to. I wish they would have kept it kind of like Close Encounters, where yeah, we saw aliens at the end, but like 95% of the movie was you saw a couple flying saucers and it was kind of creepy and we didn't know what they wanted, and it missed the creep factor. Like all especially Raiders of the Lost Ark was creepy. Was kind of a creepy movie, and they did good with that. So I don't know. I even could have gotten over Shia LaBeouf. I thought the best scene in Crystal Skull was the library scene where they're running around the library, and Shia LaBeouf was in that scene, and I thought that was the most like Indiana Jones scene in that movie. I thought. I agree. Viking bitch Ben Browder can play anything. I think it just with Dennis, it's not Ensign Mount. So Ensign Mount is if Ensign Mount was in Farscape, it'd be the greatest thing ever.
No, it just it might have helped a little bit. It might have been a little bit better acted, but that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna step back
I
from
think
that one.
Browder could be Indiana. How's he looking these days? I mean, if
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
well,
He
he
was
was in gold, so I couldn't see how he's actually looking. He looked good, yeah. Harrison Ford was in his late 30s in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So everybody seems to think it's a slam dunk for Chris Pratt. So and I'm not against that.
Yeah, I would see Chris Pratt as an
Yeah,
Indiana Jones.
I think he'd do good. But
Thank you, Jody. Did you just Google that there? Shazam. S is for the wisdom of Solomon. There we go. H is for the strength of Hercules. A is for the stamina of Atlas. Z is for the power of Zeus. A is for the courage of Achilles. And M is the speed of Mercury. So, yes, that is what that stands for. And Man of Action says Anson Mount needs to bring back Bohannon in another cowboy show. Yeah, dude. Hell on Wheels is the shit. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Go and watch it.
I won't disagree with you there. He was good in that show.
Yeah.
Inhumans did him no justice at all.
No, it didn't.
And he's got a better beard face. He's just better with a beard. So some people are.
But he has that scowl. Remember, they were talking about Batman, and he was actually up for Batman along with Affleck and all the other people. And I kept saying, he's got the perfect Batman scowl, though.
DJ Bowman says, "Too bad Tom Selleck can't have his chance." Yeah, he wouldn't have been good. I like Tom Selleck. I don't know. I don't know if he'd get.
Road to China. Just watch Road to China and tell us what you think.
Yeah. See, he's great as Magnum. I mean, there's no problem with that. I like Tom Selleck, but I think if you want to recast, so I stick by Timothy Olyphant as Han Solo and Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones. I think would work. I don't know if Timothy Olyphant can play Indiana Jones because Indiana Jones does quite a bit more screaming, and Timothy Olyphant is like very reserved and cool.
I don't know. He's been doing a lot of screaming in Santa Clarita Diet.
I thought you hated that show. How are you still watching it?
No, I actually just, like I'm saying, from what I remember from the first 4 episodes, he did a lot of screaming.
That's right. Yeah, he did. But it's really out of character for him because he's playing like this really straight realtor. but who will do anything for his wife, who loves his wife, which is cool. Yeah, that is a show that, like, if you laid it out to us, we're like, this is the perfect show. We're gonna cover. We're gonna love it. And we saw it, and it just like something didn't work. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it had Nathan Fillion in it, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it had. I'm like, man, this is a perfect show for us. And we saw it. And we're like, I didn't like it. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I stopped watching it. Yeah.
Browder might make a better older indie. Depends on the era, what they put on him. Agreed, Apple Crow. He'd be cool in a contractor movie or as a PI. Definitely. Definitely. WB needs to make a Kingdom Come as a stylized animated film. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't. I think they're saving that one. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna be for. It's probably gonna be for Bruce Timm's second retirement from DC Animation.
I would let Paul Dini and Bruce Timm do it, release it in theaters, make it really freaking long. Like I would like 3 hours. I mean, that's the Lord of the Rings of comic books. And it needs to, and I'm glad they've held back on it because that needs to be done justice. It was
oh shit,
that good.
Danny Rose says, "Ha, I just watched all of season 2 of Santa Clarita Diet today, and spoiler, Nathan Fillion is back this season."
Really? Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Gordon Levitt dude. Gordon Levitt as
Indiana Jones is what I was thinking. He was saying Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Indiana Jones.
No, he should be Robin. He should still be Robin. He should be Nightwing.
You know, I can actually
Indiana Jones.
I could see him more as Han Solo. Tell you the truth.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah.
No way. No. Again, he's one of those guys. He's not ever going to be a full-grown man. He's not. He's just he looks like your very handsome IT guy. So there's some superheroes that just need to be men. Okay. That's why Ben Affleck actually works as Batman. He yoked up. He's a big dude, you know. There's other superheroes that, you know, like Spider-Man should never be a big, bulky man. He should be this wiry kid, you know. Flash, you know, the Grant Gustin as Flash is great. Look at my, here, I'm going to stand up. Look at my shirt. This is like the 80s Flash. That guy doesn't look really fast. You know, he looks like he runs like a 3.740 or something like that. He doesn't look like, he looks like a linebacker. You know, Flash is supposed to be a little skinny, but some superheroes and heroes like Han Solo is a man's man. So again, I will say that again. We need somebody who can put some weight on their bones.
Apple Crow says, "Oh, and Gary, you were mentioning your fetish for green ladies based off Trek. Elizabeth Debicki painted all gold for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did something to my brain to drive me crazy."
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed. Yes, in Farscape, I was talking about my fetish for liking green and blue painted women and my love for the play Wicked. And that's not something. This is when you've been podcasting too long, and maybe you just say things you shouldn't. And I have no control that what flies out of my pie hole, but there it is. He is gray.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt as David Addison from a Moonlighting reboot, is what DJ Bowman says.
That would be good. That
could work. Yeah.
I loved Moonlighting. That was a good show.
Yeah, it was good until they got together.
Yep. That's you know, I would have strung that out to the very end. Like maybe they like have them go in for a kiss, like with the moon in the background, and then cut before their lips touch. That's how I would have ended it. Yeah, because the minute they got together, and wasn't she pregnant at some point, or did I just imagine that?
No, she was pregnant in real life, and so they had to film her from the waist.
That's right. I remember there being a pregnancy involved.
Yeah.
Remember when Bruce Willis hit the scene and what everybody called him? He was not an action star. He was the next Bill Murray. That's what everybody called him.
Well, no, the funny thing is in Die Hard, which always makes me laugh.
Yes. You notice how Dennis goes, no, like he's correcting my opinion.
No, I wasn't correcting your opinion. I was thinking of something at the same time. That's all that was happening. In Die Hard, there's a great line from Dwayne, the deputy district attorney or police chief down below. He goes, "We don't know who this guy is. He could be a bartender for all we know," which that's what Bruce Willis used to be, was a bartender, which is a little inside joke that they did. It made me laugh.
Ah, yes. So, yes, he was known as the next Bill Murray. They thought he was going to be a comedy sensation. And when they cast him in Die Hard, it was supposed to be kind of, flipping the script on the casting, kind of, like Michael Keaton as Batman. They wanted to throw in somebody who wasn't seen as this action star, and it made him an action star because he was known for comedy. Moonlighting was all about comedy. David Addison, that is a name I have not heard in a long time.
DJ Bowman says
opinion adjustment, says Edward Brewer. Yes.
DJ Bowman says Mulder and Scully suffered from the moonlighting curse for a long time. The writers were afraid to put them together because of what happened in Moonlighting. Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, is I never knew that. Is that the actual reason? Or Chris Carter was like worried about that?
Yeah, because you got to remember. There we go. Drink. In the Moonlighting happened into the late mid 90s, and X-Files. No. Yeah.
No, Moonlighting was done by the late 80s. I thought.
No, it was 93 or 94 if I remember correctly, but that's when X-Files started from, what was it, 90, 92?
X-Files started in 92, I believe. Yeah, because sightings, it took over the place of sightings like the next day.
And so that was the biggest thing because and also with Cheers too, when Sam and Diane got together, they called it the curse of getting your characters together, and then it just ruined the show. And so that's why they didn't want to get Mulder and Scully together, because they thought it would ruin the show.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't. You either start them off together and break them up, or it went to 89. No, I'm looking at it now. 49 minutes. It ran to 89. Yeah, May 14th, 1989. It was a 100% 80s series. But yeah, I didn't know what, and that's why they got rid of Diane in Cheers. By the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that and Shelley Long was notoriously
hate ... strongly dislike. Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk is awesome.
Dennis and I both like Hudson Hawk.
I'm not going to even apologize for that one. I like that movie. I'm sorry. It's good. It's fun.
I remember renting it on VHS because everybody had trashed it. And the thing is, and that's probably why I kind of liked it. It was hated before it came out. Mm-hmm. There was just a lot of bad press on it. And it was just they had properly built up Bruce Willis. So, you know how vindictive the media. This is before the time now where the media is just a PR firm for Hollywood. They used to actually be adversarial, and it was time to knock Bruce Willis down a couple of pegs. Not saying the movie wasn't good, okay, but again, I'll use a saying that I used, and it wasn't good, but it was cool. I thought it was cool. I thought it was okay, man.
It had a good plot to it, though. I mean, the plot wasn't bad. And what's his name? Now I'm blanking on him. Richard E. Grant, who played the bad guy. Him and Sandra Bernhardt as the villains, and their brother and sister, who may have a questionable relationship, which we see later on in another TV show. I thought was pretty damn funny because he did. I don't know what it was with Richard Grant, man, but he just was like really over the top.
And I think all the coke that yes, there was Hudson Hawk became a cult movie. It says, how's your father? Hi, how's your father? How's your father? How's your father? And my name is Smoke Too Much. Sorry. That is a correct. Is it a cult movie? Is it? I mean, because then I'm part of that cult.
Yeah, I think it's still under the radar. I used to own that thing on Laserdisc. That's all I'm going to say right there. Yeah.
Don't. Okay, Laserdisc was basically a DVD before a DVD. The packaging on them was great because it was the same size as your vinyl. So you got this killer cardstock packaging and inlet booklets and like really cool stuff. The picture was freaking cutting edge back then compared to what you saw in VHS.
And you got director's comments on there.
Oh yeah. But Laserdisc was high quality, but the problem is like they never made it cheap. And by the time they
Mhm.
started doing that, DVD came out. So
Yeah.
and CDs.
Yeah. And still to this day, if you ever get a chance to listen to it, it's awesome. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. When he did the Laserdisc version of that, him and Kurt Russell sat down and they're drinking. You can tell they're drinking and they're talking about the movie. One of the best commentaries to this day that you'll ever hear. And it's on the special edition DVD. If you ever get a chance to watch it with the director's commentary. It's super fun.
Top 3 commentaries. The one you just mentioned, Mallrats with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Kevin Smith. And they about 15 minutes in, they stop talking about the movie and just start giving each other shit for their bad movies up to that time, which is hilarious. And then Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters did an MS3TK on their special edition where it's Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and the director, I'm spacing his name.
Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman,
yeah.
silhouette talking about the movie, and oh, is it good? It is so good. The cheesy RCA discs that weren't laser came out. I think I was showing those tape. I have
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
I was showing one in another pod. I can't reach it right now, but I have the 60s Spider-Man cartoon on one of those. I've been looking for a player. I can't find the player. Maybe I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know where it is over there, but yeah, I have one of those. I found it in my garage. I honestly hadn't seen it. I forgot I had it.
Apple Crow says, I have the original theatrical version of Star Wars on Laserdisc because of the only digital copy available for a long time. Yeah, I had those as well. And then they actually did a, because George Lucas said he would never throw those back out there again. And then he got pissed off because everyone said, we want them, we want them, we want them. So he just took those Laserdisc copies and threw them over into DVD. And I have those DVDs to this day and will not give them up because I don't need to buy any of the Blu-ray stuff. They're bad quality, but yeah, that I still like to see the original theatrical releases of those.
I bought Costco sold for a little while this this player where you could put your VHS tapes in and just burn them on the DVDs. And it was cheaper than buying it on a burner for a computer.
Yeah.
And I took all my home movies and crap like that, but I also like remember like I did that with my Star Wars. That's what maybe brought it up. Is I had my original Star Wars VHSs. I burned those over. I did Spawn, which I cannot find, and the Max. Remember the Max show that used to be on MTV? That was dope. I love that, man. Yeah, and all the Spider-Man animated, the Doctor Strange movie that came out. This is before, I guess they're all out on DVD now, but for the longest time, Spider-Man's not. The live-action Spider-Man has yet to been. It was supposed to be released and it wasn't. With Nicholas Hammond, loved that show to death. But all that weird stuff. I have all the Spider-Man Electric Company like spliced in. Oh my god, those were bad. That made a lot of Spider-Man fans. That doesn't get brought up. That doesn't get brought up enough. But the Spider-Man showing up on it was just Spidey on the Electric Company was pretty insane. And you know who else was on the Electric Company? Morgan Freeman.
That's right, he was.
Morgan Freeman and Spider-Man.
Johnny Papa says they might be bad quality, but they are the original Star Wars without the extras. Yes, they are.
Yep. I love that they changed the end of Jedi though. They got rid of the nub nub song or nug nug, and they put in some like Celtic string music, which when they did that, I was so many people were cheering when we heard that. Everybody's like, yeah, they were so happy. Gary, the 70s like live action Spidey, that was fun. I love that show. They turned it into Japanese Spider-Man, and I think they used a lot of the same, but they did use a lot of the same stuff. So
I love the rope that came out of his, it wasn't a web, it was a rope.
There's a hole at the bottom of the sea. Man of action is funny. I do remember that. Nub nub for life. Apple Crow says I'm insane. Again, Yeah, I never liked it. It never sat well with me.
Yum
I'm
yum.
okay with the Ewoks playing drums on the stormtroopers helmets and stuff, but Morgan and Lois or Louise.
I'm
That's
Morgan
right.
Freeman.
Man of Action watched Electric Company. We all watched Electric Company
Oh yeah,
for the longest time. I always thought it was far superior to Sesame Street. I did. Um,
that's right. Ron Perlman was the Beast on Beauty and the Beast with Linda Hamilton on that TV
yes,
show.
with Roy Dotrice, who reads all of the Game of Thrones audiobooks, and he does it very well, by the way. Speaking of which, I mean, like, I can drop this news right here since we're just talking about anything. We're getting a book from George R. R. Martin this year.
Really?
It's just not When's a Winner. Mother fucker.
I knew it was going to be anything.
Damn it. I mean, like, I'm happy. I love The World of Ice and Fire. I read the shit out of it, but we're not getting a winner. We're getting a history of the Targaryen family, and it's a part 1. So we're getting Fire and Blood part 1, which again I'm happy about. I'm gonna read the shit out of. World of Ice and Fire was great, but it's just I don't know.
You know what it reminds me of? I know you haven't seen it, but Logan Lucky, the movie with Daniel Craig, dyed blonde hair, and Channing Tatum. It's actually pretty funny. At one point, they're trying to bust out of the prison, and so they have to they cause a prison riot. And so one of the demands of the prisoners is they want the new Fire and Ice book from George R. R. Martin. And the warden's like, it hasn't been written yet. He hasn't put it out. And the warden, by the way, is Dwight Yoakam. Which is just hilarious in itself. He goes, it hasn't been written yet. And they're like, bullshit, we've seen the TV shows. So they're like, yeah, the TV shows have skipped ahead of the books. And they're explaining this over speakers.
Okay, I gotta go back in the chat here. Again, yeah, it's just somebody. Okay, this is bad. Somebody needs to find okay, not somebody needs to find a Make-A-Wish kid and get to George. It just needs to happen. Okay. It might be, can you make a wish in your late 80s? Can an old man just be could you write the book before I'm done? Jesus Christ. Hey you guys. Johnny Pop has watched Electric Company. Electric Company is the most 70s thing ever. That and HR Puffin stuff, which was people who dropped acid and decided to make a show for kids.
The Banana Splits.
The Banana Splits was pretty weird too. But HR, what was the show with Witchy Poo? Wasn't HR Puffin stuff. It was the one where the kid falls down, the big magic hat that grows, and then he's like playing the talking flute, and he falls down.
I can't remember that one.
The hat, and it goes down a boat, and that used to scare the shit out of me. And now I was like 4.
The Croft shows. There we go. Yeah.
Those. But what was the other one? Am I mixing that up with HR Puffin stuff? I thought it was a different show, but maybe that was HR
Land of the Lost. Yeah.
No, that the Land of the Lost is when they no, there's maybe that is HR Puffin stuff where there's a giant magic hat that grows and then the kid falls through it.
Sigmund and the Sea Monster is what Man of Action is. I don't know if I think that was Sigmund and the Sea Monster had Witchy Poo.
Yeah, whoever had Witchy Poo, man, that show scared the crap. I was always afraid like I was gonna fall down a hat and I wouldn't make my way home.
Yeah, Ghost World. I was thinking the same thing. We need Kathy Bates in Misery to break Martin's legs and force him to write.
That's a great point. Beauty and the Beast was a good show. It really was. Yeah, man.
Fraggle Rock. Jody says, wait, that wasn't Fraggle Rock, was it?
We were talking about CW shows and we've trekked down to Croft shows. Land of the Lost was the best. I mean, it kind of sucks. The Will Ferrell one was okay, but I would like to see like a serious take on that show, because I always thought that the whole Slee Stack thing and that they were the intelligent race before us. And that's why there was a bunch of old, that's where all the old, pyramids and stuff came from. I thought that was really kind of a deep concept for a little kid show.
Witchy Poo was HR Puff and Stuff. Is what Penn Farm Girl says.
It was so I just thought it was the two different shows, but it was the same show. That's what I thought. I was, it's been years. So,
The Great Space. See, I used to watch the Monkees too when they were out.
They came back on MTV. I mean, I watched them before that, but they had this huge resurgence because MTV started showing the Monkees. They started showing the Young Ones and the Monkees.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Young Ones, man. That is the greatest sitcom ever made. And it's 8 episodes. Oh my God. But it's got an anarchist, a punk rocker, a hippie, and like a drug dealing like club goer, all living in a flat in London. And they had musical acts, and it's the first time I ever saw Motorhead. They introduced me to Motorhead, and they had the Damned on. God, that was a good show, man.
God, I remember the Damned. Yeah, it was that
Captain Sensible. That's a good band.
I think since, as we had one of our commenters say, you guys just go too damn long.
Well, that was for a particular recap, and he might have a point. This is kind of an open live stream now, so unless you're ready, we can call it. Yeah, because my buddy Comics Division's starting a live. I don't want to, and we stepped on Ethan Van Skyvers. But hey, thanks for joining us tonight. It was actually a lot of fun. I love talking to you guys. I had a lot of fun with Farscape. I can't wait. I want to ask real quick, Jody, Edward Brewer, Johnny Pappas, DJ Bowman, Ghost World. Ghost World, did you ever see Farscape? I know you've only seen 3 shows. I was wondering if Farscape was one of those shows. I know X-Files is one of them. But and Davis 404, should I do do you want me to do like episode by episode, or should I just do seasons? Leave it up to you guys. Because I'm kind of, if I do episode by episode, this is going to be like a 2-year series. but I'm willing to do it. But I do want to try other shows too.
Jody says, okay, so who won the debate? Gary? Because Dennis seems to be anti-CWDC now.
I must have won. That wasn't a really good debate, was it?
There wasn't I see, this was never just meant to be a debate, really. It was supposed to be, we were supposed to talk about the shows really quickly and not even like get into like specifics of the episodes or anything like that, but just the reasons why Gary left and why I stayed.
So to sum it up, why are you staying?
Because it reminds me still of the old 70s DC comics, which I love. I love they're cheesy as all hell. And I think that's what it is. It has some elements of that cheese still in there. And that's what I like about it, especially Supergirl, which I know you don't like. And Legends of Tomorrow definitely has some of that cheese as well.
Gotcha. And noted, Ghost World, do it in blocks, like 3 or 4 eps at a time. But focus on the bigger, more important ones. That's good advice right there. I stepped out because it stopped being like the comics and more of a CW show. That was always our worry when we started. We actually spoke about that in our very first podcast. The one thing we liked about Arrow is it wasn't CW. The problem is the CW. I mean, it's a term that everybody says. Like it went CW on us. People like equate that to other, like his life went CW, like it's a thing. So that's what's happened to these shows. And if you want to see something like the comics, well, read the comics. They're better. They're right here. They're just as much as an episode for most part. I'm going to show off some very good, our buddy, Ethan Van Skyver, who I was so stoked, liked one of our videos. And dude, he's just this is freaking great comic art. Okay. This is great comic art. I love his stuff. It's just solid, straight up comic art. Love Ethan. And it stopped being that. They stopped wearing costumes. I could put up with talking about feelings in hallways if they're in their costumes. And they're calling each other by their superhero names and they're fighting bad guys kind of every episode. I don't want episodes off. They never did that with the comics, and they do that a lot now. Okay. But if we're talking about old comics, they didn't have a lot, comics now. They just did a She-Hulk run where she's trying to save a cooking YouTuber. and it shows her like going out and like shopping and shit. Like who makes comics like that? But yeah, that's kind of what's happening in the CW shows for me. They're getting to, it's all about the quip and the ship, you know, and a good quip and a good ship are great sparingly, okay, and done in the right places. But these things are, I actually think they pre-write their quips and they pre-plan their ships before they have an actual plot. And I think that's more important. It's written for Tumblr, and it should be written for more than Tumblr. Okay, Tumblr is not your entire audience. It's okay to keep some of that stuff in there. I'm totally fine with that. But and they're pretty much going to do that to my Constantine, and I don't know if I can watch that. I was initially very excited.
Not going to do that to Constantine. They're not going to ship him with anybody because there's no way they can.
They're not.
They haven't done it with Rory.
They started shipping him with Gary with the D&D game. They started shipping him. I beg to differ. Yeah, I think they're going to take my beloved Constantine and turn him into somebody who's keeping secrets and love triangles, and that will actually kind of anger me. We double our amount of haters, guys. Who did? Ghost World wasn't around for Farscape when I was showering it with love.
Do we have 2 votes down now? Oh, we do have 2 votes down. That's what they meant.
Oh, that's what they meant. Okay, it's all right. That's okay. It was probably people wanting Counterpart. I would downvote us too. That's okay. You know what? We get enough likes. Our ratio is actually very good. But thanks for pointing it out. And it's okay. We it actually makes you legit. You're not legit on Yelp, and until you get your first bad review. So you're not legit until you get your first downvote. It's all good. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. Our next podcast. I can't wait for Counterpart. I wanted to be talking about Counterpart tonight, but we're not. I can't wait for Counterpart. Exciting things are happening here soon. So we got Ash versus Evil Dead, which nobody's watching, which kind of sucks, but oh well. But we got the wonderful Susan Layton coming back, so it'll be a small little party with just us guys, and that's cool. Then Wednesday we got Krypton. Can't wait for Krypton. Very excited about that. We got Friday night. Yeah. Thursday I'll be on Comics Division's live stream talking about how to market a comic shop and comic book marketing, if you're into that kind of stuff, kind of inside baseball stuff. And then Friday it's back for the free for all. Saturday afternoon, tentatively, I will be doing my next Farscape. Also, there's Monday live stream tomorrow. I also want to mention, for those of you who are going to watch the live stream tomorrow, usually I put up what's called a place card. You know, I set up an event and you guys see it for a little while. That's not going to happen tomorrow because there's a new feature on YouTube I want to test out, where it's just the direct camera, and apparently you can get you get a better DPI. So I'm gonna test it at 4K tomorrow. I'm gonna see if it works. It might not. So it's just gonna show up. So it'll be between 11 and 11:15 tomorrow. And yes, the live stream's at 11-ish tomorrow. I spoke to Doomcock. Okay, so we threw a couple things back and forth. We're trying to make it work. He has suggested a roundtable, and maybe we want to pick something neither of us have covered, or just talk about things we have covered. He said some very nice things about the channel, and that was very cool. I don't want to blow his cover as this evil overlord, but he seems like a very, very cool dude. So yes, thank you guys for making that happen, and Viking Bitch especially, throwing out, just telling them that we're here and saying nice things about us. And he had wonderful things to say about you. So that's definitely, it's in the works, and I want to make this happen very badly.
Cool.
Before he blows up and turns into, I tell him so much. Yeah. He's going to have, I see him having 50 to 100,000 subscribers soon, like within a year or so. He's going to come out with a video at the right time, and it's just going to blow him up. And his videos, they have legs. So I think eventually, it's going to keep growing for him. So it's sky's the limit for that dude. Like, he is good stuff. So Apple Crow says, so 2 p.m. Yes.
Hey, Apple Crow's gotten the Gary time.
Gary time there. We were pretty close tonight, weren't we? I think we were pretty close to being.
7:45.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We were here and then we started talking. So I like I said last podcast, there's a dumb little ritual I have to, which I'm not going to devolve, but I have to do a ritual before I start. I cannot start the podcast without doing the ritual. It's a lot OCD. It's 100% OCD, but I have to do it. So I have to
walk and smoke and get a drink. That's all it is.
No, that's not it. Yeah. So there you go. And let's wrap this thing up.
No, sorry, I was just swallowing my beverage here. People of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Everybody in the chat, thank you. And
yes.
oh God, I got to do this.
Yeah, you forgot this.
I forgot to keep talking there for a second there, pal.
So I'm going to thank Penn Farm Girl, Apple Crow, Jody, Zev Bellringer, DJ Bowman. I'm sorry. That just makes me laugh.
Zev Bellringer.
Bellringer. Yeah. Viking Bitch, Ed Brewer, Davis 404, Ghost World. And I think Matt S. How's your father? Asked, how's your father? How's your father? Johnny Pappas. And I believe Man of Action. How could I forget Man of Action? Because Man of Action was here as well. And I'm looking to see. I think that was everybody. Yes, that is everybody. Thank you for joining us in the chat. As always, you guys make this a lot of fun for us. We get a chance to interact with everybody. And you guys bring up a lot of good subjects that we can cover. And also, you carry us further down the rabbit hole than we would on our own, even though we do a good job of going down the rabbit hole quite a bit. So
no, we just take you down to the gutter. You bring us up from that. Yeah. And I was responding in the chat to something like way up there. I just realized I saw my little blue arrow, so I was way behind. So when I say I saw Jody talking about Sky High, I freaking love that movie.
Oh yeah, come on, it's got Bruce Campbell in it. Boomer
movie. That's something we should definitely cover. But it would just be I love this movie for 20 minutes.
Yes, Linda Carter is in Supergirl. They were actually talking about that too, and I would love to see her come back because she is the president of the United States in Supergirl. So
I don't care about Supergirl at all.
I know you don't. That's because it actually has a costume.
No, I already gave my very good reasons for it.
I know.
Let me get. Can everybody see that? I gotta present to everyone there. Yeah, there we go. So there's our little patron graphic that we're gonna put at the end of every podcast, and we'd like to thank all of our 13 patrons, which are Jody, Viking Bitch, Apple Crow, Eric, Lawrence Howe, Kristen, Conan, sorry, Shakuri Lama, Richard Seth Jones, Isaiah Norton, Fan on Rough, Penn Farm Girl, Brian Smart, and Arturo Espinoza. Thank you very much for your patronage, and we're going to put some more fun stuff up. And I've got everybody's addresses now, and you'll be getting tracking numbers tomorrow. Very excited about this. Very cool. Again, you're getting something a little extra in your package. So, and no, it's not a package from Colombia. It's not like that. It's legal. Dennis doesn't share.
Hey, I don't. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Whatever. All right. You've already said yours, so I'll say mine. Good night, everybody. Thank everybody in chat, and may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.